Just check, make sure everything's working again. Sorry for any technical problems. If introductions haven't done yet, welcome to the Tower of Hera Division Finals match for the Link to the Past Randomizer League. Today we have Kaede Rukawa versus alexjas2. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Today's mode is Casual Boots. Standard opening, Pegasus Boots and a starting sword. Opens up some early checks, makes things nice and easy starting out. I am joined here tonight by Dane8373. How are you doing tonight?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I've been trying to give the intro, but apparently some technical difficulties occurred, and now... But yes, I heard your intro. Very good job, Lucian. So technical difficulties, our commentators are online now.
Yes, we are here. Yeah. Casual Boots, nothing fancy. Nice breezy, well, hopefully breezy, you never know. Rando can be fickle.
Yes, and these teams, they both come from the same division. They're both from the Tower of Hera division, so these teams have already played each other once this season. They split the series 1-1, so we should be looking at a pretty tight competitive series here.
A close call on the ball and chain guard.
Yeah, the extra heart container really coming up nice there. And yeah, like you mentioned, the casual boots, it does make it makes some of the openings a little bit more standard, and like there's just because there's more checks that you can do. So like you're gonna do bonk rocks out of escape, and then when you get to the Ice Rod Cave, you have your water walk available. So it does change the early game routing a little bit, more than just having the boots to go fast.
Yep, and one of the best things about casual boots in standard opening is you don't have to worry about scrambling for bombs on your way out the escape.
Yes, it's very good to just lower the variance that you get, because you don't have to worry about if you got a bomb, and if you do, you don't have to worry about coming back. So it's one of the nicer things about it.
All right, and approaching the back of escape, we've got Alex in a slight lead, which it's escape. You know, games aren't won in escape.
Yes, not often. Usually I see some very close ones where you can argue how the seconds you save an escape, but it's hard to accumulate seconds from the entire course of the stream. There's other decisions that come into play. So while we've got a little bit more time in the escape sequence, we can kind of talk about like the rest of the matches you'll see for this. So you won't be seeing every match be open casual boots for these playoffs. You'll see some of the matches will be cross keys. That will be the game 2 of the series, though the series games do not have to be played in order. So you might see a game 1 and then a game 3, and the game 2 might not even get played, for instance. But games 2 will be cross keys, and then game 3, there's a set of different modes that they can be. I don't know if I might have had all of them, but we've got hard enemizer, swordless, the ambrosia, and a hard enemizer. So there's a lot of cool options in there. And then should they be necessary, we have game 4, which would be the same modes as game 3. It's just the lower seeded team will get to choose, whereas in game 3, the higher seed chooses. And then match 5, if necessary, would be co-op retrans, which would definitely be a mode that I've definitely never seen before. So that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I've ran a regular retrans, let alone a co-op.
Yeah, retrans was pretty popular on the ladder. It's kind of just like regular cross keys, just you can throw all the small key logic out the window because the game expects you to have infinite small keys. And we see Alex getting out of escape. We can't give him an escape time because he doesn't seem to have a timer there. But Kaede Rukawa gets out at about 5:30. We've got Matt Kappa, the other teammate on Blue Balls United, saying that the game 3 for this particular series will be in Vrosia, and the series will be played in order, so that will only be played. Well, I guess game 1 through 3 will always be played because it's best of. You need to win 3 to make it. So I guess I don't think you can. I don't know if you can do game 4 before game 2 and not play cross keys. I'd have to actually look at
that. And not much so far. The only thing of real importance I saw in Escape was the half magic.
Yeah, we got basically just some money, it seems, mainly, which is nice to get some early game money, not have to worry about farming for Battle Vendor or anything. Our tier 2 tree pole is just the single rupee, so not going to be too helpful today.
Nothing but a blue rupee on Graveyard Ledge, so Aga most likely not going to be necessary today.
Yep, definitely won't need him for that item. Still got the chance for Dark World access through Aghanim, but yeah, definitely not going to know we have to do it. Personally, I think it's nice, especially in casual boots mode. I like when there's something on Aghanim because then you just do it whenever you have the ability. So if you see something like the hook shot that you know you're probably going to need, then it's really nice to just know, oh, I can go in there whenever. I have the boots, I can get the item down, I have the sword. So that can be nice sometimes.
Yeah, definitely takes some of that edge off on knowing when to make the Aga play.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to worry about gambling it and your opponent can skip it. You just do it whenever it's convenient for you. And we saw that glove in the top of Lost Woods, definitely part of our Dark World access today. Also will give us some access to the mountain if we were to get the lamp. They could sequence break up there, but probably not necessary. Looks like Alex is trying to see if he can get some bombs. You can bonk the bonk rocks over in that you're going to see Kaede do here.
Yeah, and there's also the rocks over on the right edge near the screen transition. I believe the northern one has bombs as a possible pickup.
Yes, there's that 50-50 bomb that they can go for because they have the glove. Yeah, and Kaede is going to show us that. Not getting lucky today. Oh, I guess he did. Maybe he just picked up the... I assume that he picked up the 50-50, but I personally didn't know which one was the 50-50 either. I just know there is one.
Yeah, not something you get to see very often because it always depends on boots being on the early path, but always a nice little bit of game knowledge to show off.
Yeah, you see that bonk rocks a lot in this mode specifically because you always have those boots.
And mitts.
Yeah, we'll see if we get the Moon Pearl in Kakariko well, because since Alex routed through the south, you might even see just an early dive into the Dark World if that happens.
And the Mashosaur, so Kakariko has a whole bunch of stuff in it today.
Yeah, for sure. Already getting that Master Sword. With the Titan's Mitts, you're not thinking about Aghanim as much, which you normally would be if you get the Master Sword, but since we already have the mitts, we're just going to need... That's going to be Tempered Sword even, with seeing another sword in the well. So this will be a nice, very casual boots having 9-minute Tempered Sword.
Nice little bit of spin speed there.
So there won't be any early, immediate Village of Outcast dive here without the Moon Pearl showing up. I do like that when that play is an option, when you can just go into Dark World immediately out of Escape. And so after this, it's kind of interesting. I feel like you have a little bit more options with the boot starts because you'll sometimes see runners when they do the South Shore, they will take the dam right over to Agena since the boots make those checks pretty quick. And then also you've got just the standard going towards Mini Moldorm Cave and Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, and the money is just about there, so a trip to Zora would not be too bad an idea to go for.
And there is that hook shot, very important for, one, you just need it to beat the game unless you can hover the Moldorm gap. Two, or do a Moldorm bounce, I guess. But two, it just gives us a lot of access on Death Mountain with those mitts and the hook shot. As soon as we find the Moon Pearl, they'll have Dark Death Mountain, hook shot cave, all that stuff. There's a bottle up on the race game, which is kind of annoying because like that's one of the worst checks in Kakariko for it to have the bottle because it's the farthest if you want to go back for Sick Kid. I would be surprised at this point, especially with the mitts, to see them go back immediately. Because you can just turn it in when you go to Village of Outcasts when you have your mitts like this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. On the one hand, it's right there, but at the same time, the urgency's not that high.
Looks like Alex is going to turn that in right away. Oh, they're both going to do it.
Yeah,
no,
yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, it'd be really interesting if this is the Moon Pearl. They'll both feel like they really got something great.
Nope, nothing but a piece of heart.
So now we're going to probably check out the south route. You could just run over to the Saha's hut, but with this loadout, I wouldn't expect to see that because you're just the one item away from Dark World access.
Yeah, you pick up. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not sure where Kaede got the extra 50 rupees on Alex.
Good question.
Looks like 50 is a fairly... Maybe there was a tree pole. I don't know. It's a fairly significant difference. Because like sometimes the rupee count here when I'm between 400 and 500 really affects how I route it. So like if I'm in Alex's position, I'm much more tempted to go over to Agina right now. Whereas if I'm in Kaede's position money-wise, then I'm probably just going to go over to Mini Moldorm Cave. And if worst case scenario, you can farm that bomb, that place under the rock once if every check over here has no money.
Yep, and Triple Factorial is correcting us in chat. Alex bought bombs in Kakariko.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. Well, it looks like, yeah, he'll only need 5 more. Okay, so just enough 20s in here to get Alex up to 500, so they'll both have that Zora money. Because you're definitely tempted to do all of the checks and just leave Zora behind when you have this loadout. And so something to note here is that these runners don't have the Moon Pearl. So if they want to check Waterfall Cave out of here, they have to do it with the Water Walk from Ice Rod Cave. They can't do the walk in and walk out of the Waterfall Cave to get the item. Here, guy is showing off his game knowledge there, farming the 50-50 there.
And almost vanilla rod, just not the correct rod.
Yeah, we've got the rod swap today. Maybe we'll have the Ice Rod in Skullwoods today. And both these runners are going to set up the Water Walk. Let's see. Sometimes you'll see runners use the stored Water Walk here to route in Hobo and the Waterfall Cave a little bit easier, but we'll see. That one is you do have to get the fake flipper first try to do that. And yeah, you see, so Alex going over to the Zora area, not going to Hobo. That's just because he needs to keep this Water Walk if he wants to do these checks. And it's always a bit nerve-wracking when you get a piece of a heart in this, because if you get a heart refill, then you lose your Water Walk. And in this case, they wouldn't be able to get it back.
A nice pickup of a red potion from the Waterfall Fairy.
Yeah, potions in particular can be very nice when you don't have a bow like this, because as soon as you get Dark World access, maybe you make your way over to Palace of Darkness at some point. Probably not as much with this loadout, but it's possible. And you really like to have the potion to do the potion on camera on that glitch. But we see really nothing in the South Shore to help us. The Fire Rod is nice, but it doesn't help us immediately, though it could be telling about Eastern if a bow were to show up.
Yeah, at this point, all that's left in Logic is Saha and Eastern, correct? Oh, and Agina.
Yes, Igina. But so the good news is we're not going to. If it's, I don't think this is going to be Nagaseed at this point, just because. First of all, it would have to be Moon Pearl. Second of all, if we get the lamp, which you need to do Aghanim, then you're going to get mountain access with the hookshot in the midst. So you'll have a lot of access up on the mountain. So we'll just have basically just hunting for like a lamp or a flute or a Moon Pearl to give us a ton of checks.
Well, and there it is.
Yeah, Moon Pearl and Flippers. So the Flippers give us Hobo and Logic, which neither of these runners checked. But now the Moon Pearl, more importantly, gives us Village of Outcasts Dark World access. And so actually between those two, we have full Dark World access because you can use the Flippers to get over to East Dark World too.
Yeah, it looks like Kaede is moving on to Eastern Palace.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble because Eastern is a pendant. So you might not have to beat it. The fact that you don't have a bow can be... it's like kind of like a double-edged. Like if you get all 3 items here, then you might be okay. Now the exception is this is the green pendant today, so that doesn't fully apply, but it's definitely a big risk here.
Yeah, and out of all the dungeons you can dip and not complete, Eastern tends to be one of the breezier ones.
Yeah, if you're not going to come back and beat it, the main problem with dipping Eastern is that like you don't save any time going through it a second time. Like if you go into Swamp Palace and you have to do Hookless Swamp for whatever reason, and you come back in, it's very quick to go through and clear it. Same with like Palace of Darkness. If you do the backup pod, it's quicker to clear. And then with our map check, we see that our red crystals Ice Palace. Our other 2 pendants are Ice and Turtle Rock, and then the remainder will be crystals.
Definitely be interesting to see if this Eastern play pulls off any dividends.
Yeah, I'd be a bit surprised just because they have so much in Logic. With the Moon Pearl and the Flippers opened up almost the entire Dark World. So like most of the game, they just need a flute or a lamp to get the mountain. So it would be quite telling if it is something. And meanwhile, on Alex's side, with that Fire Rod and Skullwoods being a crystal, this is, I think, a pretty easy decision. Whenever you don't have the hammer and you come into the Dark World, you want to dip Skullwoods anyway, but when you can full clear it and it's a crystal, and you even have Tempered Sword and Blue Mail, it's just no decision. Just go in and be Mothula.
Exactly, it's right there. You got Tempered Sword. Mothula shouldn't be too big a problem. Oh, there's the flutes.
Oh, that's a really good find for Kaede. Because if it had been something like I don't know, the hammer, then you're probably going to get forced back here at some point. But with the flute, I mean, you see people that could be in Turtle Rock from the point of view of Alex, because as long as you get mountain access at least. So I guess it depends where the lamp shows up, because that can sometimes point you back to the flute. Because like if you have to sequence break the mountain, you know the flute's not going to be up there, which could potentially save Alex from a pendant Turtle Rock. But when you do a play like Kaede did here and dips Eastern in kind of an unconventional plan time, you really like to find an item like that doesn't block too much. And we need it to beat Mire, so you need it for the seed, but it doesn't immediately give too much. It's a mountain, but you can get up there without it, I guess.
Yeah, but it does put the mountain in Logic.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. I'm really interested where that lamp is going to show up, because if the lamp doesn't show up, then I think that's really good for Alex, because if he stays in Logic, he'll know to go get that flute. But if the lamp does show up, then it could be a long time before Alex goes into Eastern, depending on when that bow shows up.
So a definite smart but risky gamble from is it Kaede?
I think it's Kaede.
Yeah, very risky, but definitely pays off.
Yeah, and the flute is really nice because you get to. This is just really nice routing for turning it in. You get to go to Village of Outcasts and immediately activate the flute. Very nice. Speaking of very nice, that was a pretty nice moss fight by Alex. Very nice to have the Tempered Sword, and he makes good use of it there.
Alright, so at about 1950, I think, as far as I can tell, that is our first crystal on the board.
And I haven't been counting items in the Skull Woods particularly well, so we'll have to see If Alex is checking more chests here.
I'd be lying if I said I was too. I was caught up in the flute.
Yeah, it's too distracting of a pull from Pendant Eastern.
It looks like there's at least still one item at large.
Yeah, the vanilla big key chest, I believe, was a key, but I didn't see bridge chest or moth. And so I was thinking back to that flute, another thing, and there's the Ice Rod in Skull Woods, so we did really get the rod swap today.
Yeah, you called it.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it had been in the big chest, but I'll settle for that.
Yeah, that's as close as you can get without just looking downright psychic.
But yeah, so the one thing I think, so we'll see if the hammer ends up being in the mire area too. That's another thing that could push Alex back to getting that flute, just because you'll run out of options. Looks like Kaede is electing to take his flute to the mountain and is rescuing the old man right now. He's going to hold off on the Village of Outcasts area. And this makes sense to me because, first of all, he hasn't done a Dark World map check, so he doesn't know that Skullwoods is a crystal. So it's not as obvious that he should go to the Village of Outcasts area. Because if you go there and it's Pendant Skullwoods, and then you have to choose to do like Thieves Town without the hammer, it's not as easy of a decision.
That's right. Plus, there's was it 3, 10, 11 checks available on Death Mountain?
So we've got 7 in Paradox, we've got the 1 there, we got the Old Man out of Logic, so that's already 9, and then we've got 2 on Super Bunny and 4 in Hookshot Cave and Spiral Cave. So
right, I forgot about Dark World.
So
yeah, plenty of checks available. So yeah, like you said, that's the smart money right there.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like leaning into his play. He went into the Eastern and got the flute, so he can come up here confidently know that whatever he gets is in Logic, and know that your opponent probably doesn't have this flute yet.
Oh, and there's a lantern.
Okay, so that lamp is, I think, good for Alex, because he will know that the flute is south of the mountain if he sequence breaks the mountain. So I think he will end up, as long as he can keep track of the logic, he will end up getting that flute. Because whenever you find the flute on the mountain or the lamp on the mountain, you know that the other has to not be on the mountain. Because you need some way to get to the mountain, either the flute or the lamp. So since we know the lamp is up here, that would be a dead giveaway that the flute is going to be somewhere in the normal world.
Yeah, so we'll see when Alex comes around to that realization. For now, I assume they're not in a hurry, with plenty of Dark World stuff to do.
No, he's got plenty to do. It looks like he's going to continue through Thieves Town without the hammer. He has not gotten the small key yet, so it's like a 33% chance, I believe, that there's an item in the big chest at this point. We got Kaede showing us the Spiral Cave is nothing today, which it's nice to have the lamp here. And very good dash there by Alex to get through that hellway. It's always nice when the enemies don't block you when you get on the correct pixel there.
Yeah, very nice God Pixel from Alex.
Yeah, a trick to make getting that more consistent is to just don't move and just dash immediately out the door, because you can only stop on certain pixels, and the God Pixel is one of the pixels you can stop on, so you just got to get that good at timing your dash cancel.
Alright, Kaede is showing us Dark Death Mountain. See if anything's up here.
Yeah, misses this. That second hook shot clip is not the easiest, so gonna have to go up the stairs here to drop down.
And so the only thing we won't be seeing from Kaede on this first trip up the mountain be Hera, correct? And Spike Cave.
Yeah, we won't see Hera or Spike Cave, or because we can't see the book check. We also don't get to peek at. He might have actually peeked at the mountain item. I just didn't see it. the one on the floating island.
If they did, I didn't see it.
And there's a mushroom in Super Bunny Cave. We'll have to see when Kaede elects to turn that in. With the flute, he can turn that in probably pretty quickly. Going to give us a look at the Turtle Rock medallion. He can open Turtle Rock without the hammer or without the mirror because he's in the Dark World already, but it's Bombos today anyway. Which personally I would be happy about because we don't have Bombos yet and Turtle Rock's a pendant. And now I have not been counting the items in Thieves Town, but I don't think he's gotten all of the items, so it's going to be either here or on the big chest. So let's see if the gamble will go completely unpunished today.
And Deathman doesn't turn up a whole lot. There were 2 balls in Hookshot Cave, but besides that, nothing that really progresses the game.
Yeah, just getting that lamp and that mushroom, which is like a big rain check for something. And there's an item on blind, so yeah, that should be no item in the big chest today for Alex. So no, not gonna have to deal with any mental damage about just worrying about that big chest all game. And we're getting some red mail.
Which, again, not, just like the potions is not bad, but doesn't quite advance things.
Yeah, it can be annoying just because these runners haven't done Palace of Darkness yet, and that's one of the prime Death Warp places in this. Though again, I guess those Kadangos still do the same amount of damage with red mail, but if you want to use a bomb to finish yourself off, it takes a while.
Yeah, the only other leverage Kaede can use for that flute would be to go to the Mire area.
Yeah, and it's kind of risky because, like, you don't know what the Mire medallion is. So if you go over there and it's Ether, you might get tempted to go in there. So I can definitely agree with him going to the Dark World first. He also didn't even know if it was Pendant or Crystal. So I really like the decision not to go to Mire area yet. If you have the mirror, then maybe, but you just end up possibly setting yourself up for some bad decision. Though the hammer could just be in the Mire shed, for instance.
Yeah, I know from experience, when it comes to me personally, Mire finds new and amazing ways to hurt me.
Yeah, it's always tempting when you have the medallion to go in there, even when you don't have the cane. So if you go over there, you have to be ready to say no or you have to know what your answer is going to be to that question before you go. And we're getting Hype Cave. There's a book, 10 arrows, 3 bombs, cane of Samaria, okay, and a bow. So very good Hype Cave today.
An 8 out of, what do you say, 8 out of 10? I say it's 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think 8 out of 10 is all right. Maybe 9. It's a very good one. We'll see how that book pays off.
Yeah, Hype Cave actually delivers.
So that bow is pretty nice because now Palace of Darkness has some more checks and logic, because at this point, these runners can't really full clear any other dungeon. I guess they could clear Ice Palace, and that cane really helps with that.
No, they still need the hammer to full clear Ice Palace.
Oh yeah, my mistake, yes. And they have but they have Desert Palace too.
Trust me, I've been burned by a trip all the way down to Cold Stare, only to be blocked by the hammer.
Yes, it can be. It's something that especially when you're just commentating, it's hard to remember.
Yeah,
but we'll get.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, we got Crystal on Desert Palace, so that book is actually pretty helpful right now.
So depending on when Alex gets up to that mountain, that could be a significant amount of time saved. If he's, let's say, in go mode or close to it, there could be a lot of time saved by just skipping a lot of checks up there.
Yeah, certainly possible. There's that Bombos medallion, though, so I don't like to see that knowing that that's the Turtle Rock medallion. Because, yeah, there's nothing strictly required, because at some point, when it comes to either, with the bow and the green pendant, it's not as bad as normal, but going into Pendant Eastern versus Sequence Breaking the Mountain, when you can do all of Dark Death Mountain, and maybe if you even have Hera access by then, if you get the hammer, then it might be more tempting to do that Sequence Break rather than go back into Eastern. So I'd be a little bit surprised, depending on how the items lay out, to see a go mode mountain from Alex, but you never know. Chad asking about the bows. This is the progressive bows. This is just regular old casual boots.
Yeah, it feels weird to come back to regular progressive bows after how many months of SGL?
Yeah, definitely changes the game. We don't know, that might have been silvers in Hype Cave, and then Hype Cave goes down to like a 6 out of 10. So we saw the 100 rupees on the torch. I don't believe we've gotten both of the items, otherwise he wouldn't be checking it. And there's the hammer.
So Hammer and Bombos on Desert Ledge kind of makes Turtle Rock look a little spooky.
Yeah, because right now, between the two runners, we're just looking for the mirror and the Meyer medallion. So we don't know. We might even just be the mirror away from go mode. Or sorry, no, Swamp's I misread that. Swamp is a pendant. We don't need the mirror. So yeah, this might even be no mode. It's actually fairly likely. And so I think that's pretty good for Kaede, though, because it's going to be hard for Alex to get to Eastern before doing unnecessary checks. Because if, you've got to imagine that Kaede is going to go get that hammer from Desert relatively quickly.
Yeah, because once Kaede gets over to Hype Cave, you get the book, you go to the desert, you follow the items.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if what I would do is you just go and you check the My area, you see what the pendant is, what the medallion is, and if you have the right one, you can just go through and clear it. So I think that the main problem for Alex, I think, is that it's going to be he probably won't do a ton of stuff as long as he stays in logic. It's just that he's going to do something that like Kaede's going to get to skip a lot, most likely. Because this could even be like a go mode Pals of Darkness speed, like which depending on where the big key is can save a decent amount of time.
So I guess pretty much all hinges on whether or not Alex sticks to logic or not.
Well, and it also depends on what Kaede does after getting that book. Because if he says, okay, I've got a book now that gives me a fully clearable desert, I haven't checked a Gina, so that's 4 items and a crystal. If he goes over right to desert and gets the hammer, then he could just be in go mode for so long, it's going to be hard to overcome that. But if he does go into it and say like, oh, I don't want to, this is an annoying layout with the only myths of Dark World access. Maybe he decides to go up to Catfish or Pyramid or Palace of Darkness, which Alex may not do. Yeah, Kaede could be in go mode if he gets the hammer, because he's going to get the bow and the Cane of Samari out of Hype Cave and the book, and then assuming, it depends, going to Desert isn't an immediate play, but if he does do that, then he will be in 66-ish% go mode for just needing that Myra medallion. And then if Quake medallion is required for Maya, then like all bets are off. We still have no idea how this seed is who has a huge advantage in the seed or not.
I think someone brought up earlier Quake on PED for Meyer access.
Yeah, the pedestal will not be a quick check here with the already having cleared out Skullwoods by both of them.
Yeah, that'd be diabolical to front load the seed like this. Have like we're pretty much in go mode half an hour into the game. Only the height's only on PED.
Yeah, the thing about PED, though, is we still need to find that mirror to even be able to do the pedestal. And that could be in Ganon's Tower or Turtle Rock or something. And yeah, I think I agree with what chat's saying about how Alex is probably not going to do anything on the mountain because he would have to sequence break it because he's going to be in flute / maybe Quake Medallion go mode. So you're not going to look to sequence break the mountain when you're looking for the flute. Though it is possible just because you might assume the lamp is down here, but it's he's going to have so much left that he might not ever get to that desperation point to hope that the 50-50 is not lamp down here. Yeah, it's definitely viable to sequence break for flute and assume that the lamp is the thing down here. But it really depends on how bad Alex's options get. I think the fact that it's bow and green pen at Eastern is an attractive enough option that you don't end up doing the early sequence break. If it's like down to Catfish and Pyramid or the sequence break, I might do the sequence break just because Catfish is so long.
Yeah, you only get so many opportunities to do Catfish efficiently, and that's usually assuming you're coming at it from a specific direction. I'm pretty sure both runners have already done the King's Tomb Graveyard Ledge area checks.
Yeah, King's Tomb we saw already. There's Quake Medallion. Okay, so now we know that, yeah, this is really going to come down to how quickly Alex can get to Eastern and what Kaede does after getting that book. Because if Kaede doesn't immediately go to Desert, then that's the more time that Alex can make up. But if Kaede immediately goes to Desert after getting that book, it's going to be, he's going to have go mode for so long.
So both players skipping Jeremiah. What do you think happens to Jeremiah in seeds where you don't rescue him? Is he just kind of out of luck?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know what happens to the Dark World once Ganon is defeated.
Like, he shows up in the... Well, never mind, we're getting the save, but... He shows up in the credits, so I guess all's well that ends well.
Yeah, I think I might if you get turned into a frog, and he must really like his work to rather go back to work than rather just chill as a frog.
Yeah, a frog in like demon realm. Take your pick.
Now we've got Alex going into this Cold Stare fight. It's very nice to have this Fire Rod and Blue Mail and Half Magic. Should be a pretty quick fight.
Oh yeah, melts like butter.
And we probably won't see Kaede immediately go to Desert because he has the Smith, so he might be... Normally when you pick up the Smith like this, you do Pyramid and Catfish as well. But once you get Book and Kanasmari and Bow, perhaps your mind gets changed a little bit. All right, let's see where Alex wants to head to now, because he doesn't have any clearable crystals anymore. He's got Pod, or no, Pod, sorry, it's clearable. So you just clear Pod, I think, at this point. Now, if the mirror shows up in Pod, then I think Alex would be quite tempted to go into Eastern.
It looks like Kaede is making the trip up to Catfish. Or Pyramid.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see both of them, because Alex hasn't done Pyramid yet, so he gets this nice combo of Pyramid Fairy and Pyramid, and he might even do Catfish as well.
Meanwhile, poor Jeremiah just wants to go home.
Well, you get to have a nice meeting between Catfish and Frog when you do the Smith World Tour, though. Now it's using the nice strategy where you hook shot the wall and then are able to dash with the big bomb. All right, we'll see what's in the Pyramid Fairy. Again, so the mirror might be decent to help Alex with routing to get to Eastern Palace, because if you get the mirror only gives you K45, Graveyard Ledge, and Swamp Palace. So it's not, you don't necessarily want to check those checks. They're all pretty bad. Though at the same time, full clearable Swamp versus sometimes when it's Eastern, you get kind of, okay, my opponent could have kept this whenever. I don't want to go there.
Alright, so Kaede's likely doing that Smith turn in. Where do they go from there? That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to see him flute over to the desert area. He could check the Mire Medallion, or he could just go into desert first, which you'd probably be, without the mirror, you'd probably just do desert first. Because without the hammer, he doesn't have too many other great options. And yeah, our tracker pointing out a green 20 showed up in Pyramid Fairy, which was probably our boots. Because it can't be a sword at this point.
Yep, and Kaede is heading to the Desert Palace, where they will find their hammer and Bombos medallion. Although, I guess the Bombos, well, we don't know if it's a moot, because we don't know what Mire is yet.
Yeah, we don't know if that's going to be helpful, but that's, so with Kaede doing this, like you see, he'll probably, he's either going to get his go mode immediately upon fluting to Mire and seeing the Mire medallion as Ether or Bombos, or he'll just go and clear out Ice Palace and then get go mode. So Alex is kind of on, Alex has a bit of a lead in terms of he's done more dungeons, but he's going to have to get to Eastern Palace fairly quickly, or else Kaede's advantage of being in go mode for so long is going to just be too big to overcome.
Yeah, like you said, if the mirror shows up in pod, Alex's chances go up pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag, because like it's definitely tempting to mirror to Eastern, but I can also see like thinking, okay, this puts Swamp available. If I'm going to dip a pendant, I'd rather do the one that wasn't available since the start of the game. But it's definitely it's a decision runners would have to make. Also, we'll have to see where this big key is, because if the big key is early, that's bad for Alex, because Kaede will be go-moding this dungeon almost certainly. I guess you could decide to do pod before ice, but I feel like with the cane, you just do ice first, and that's much quicker. And we'll get to, so because if the big key of Palace of Darkness is in like the dark maze, then it doesn't really save much time when you get to go mode it. But if the big key is on like the bridge chest or something, then it will be much quicker in go mode than not.
Alright, so at this point, Kaede has a 66% chance of being in go mode. We just don't know what that Misery Mire entrance is yet.
Yeah, and I think that even if he isn't, he's going to get that go mode pretty quick, since Quake Medallion is just on the way in Ice Palace. So it really is kind of, we'll have to see what these runners do when they get out of their respective dungeons. If Kaede goes to pod first, then that will be good for Alex. And because we know that the Ice Palace has the Quake, if that's assuming Quake is required at least. Because also we got to think, okay, what does Alex have left logically? So he really, maybe if he doesn't find Mirror, it might be better, just because, yeah, it's going to take longer to route in, but like he just doesn't have very much left in logic right now, because all the pendants are locked by the flute, except Eastern, which has the flute. If we don't find Mirror in the pod, at least. And all right, Kaede has gotten his crystal from desert. Probably going to fleet over to Meyer because you just want to know if you're in go mode or not. And then our next moment of truth, is this going to be Quake Medallion or anything else?
The odds are in their favor. Is Quake.
Yeah, so that's definitely good for Alex because whenever you're in go mode for longer than your opponent, you get to just skip check. It's just a free time save. So if one opponent gets into go mode 15 minutes before the other, it's hard to come back even if they were already ahead before that point. So now another big decision. Where does Kaede decide to go looking for that Quake Medallion? This is like Ice Palace.
Yep, and that will be the correct choice.
And with where the Quake Medallion is in Ice Palace, it's going to be barely any slower than go moding it. And there's the big key in the Dark Maze, so that's another thing that's good for Alex because Kaede will not get to save a ton of time by go moding Palace of Darkness here. Though we're going to have to see a really bad Death Warp here by Alex. I probably would have considered hammer jumping to this, but again, the big key, it's annoying with the big key location because it's easier than you can just freely walk out after doing the last check. And yeah, I agree. Alex is definitely not out of this just because he's going to be ahead by like, I don't know, 70% of a dungeon by the time it's all said and done here once Kaede gets go mode. So if he doesn't have that much left in logic, with Pod being basically empty unless Helma gives us the mirror, he doesn't have that much left in logic. So as long as he follows the logic, and also Helma wouldn't be in logic either. So if the mirror is here, then again, you're gambling, okay, is the lamp blocking? Oh yeah, there is Smith Chain as well. But I think that you do Green Pendant Eastern before Smith Chain, but I don't. That's a matter of opinion, and it can come down to like, oh, this was available since the beginning. Because Mirrorless Smith is just kind of awful. So, but the good news is we'll get to see go mode Misery Mire from both players. So what does that mean? That a cutscene chest is probably gonna have the big key?
Most likely, because that would be the cruelest thing that could happen.
Yeah, unless you get the lucky small key in the compass chest to know that there's the big key in cutscene.
I always thought that was an interesting little quirk of this game.
Yeah, the key logic. It's funny, it also works the other way around, but you'll never see it because nobody checks cutscene chest before they check the compass chest. Whereas, say, if there's a small key in cutscene chest, then there has to be a big key in compass chest. Not the other way, if there's a big key in compass chest, there has to be a small key in the cutscene chest.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a rando player who checks cutscene before the compass chest.
Yeah, unless you're playing with hints on. And we'll see, Kaede gets the Quake Medallion right here. Took a little bit, the way that he routed it took a little bit longer to get to that because, you would get to skip Ice Tea Room if had he checked them in the other order. Oh, and fun fact about that Meyer key logic, it's true in Key Sanity as well. If for whatever reason there's a Meyer small key in the compass room, then the Meyer big key is still in the cutscene chest.
Yep, Key Sanity cross keys, which I guess is basically Key Sanity with extra steps.
And now, yeah, Kaede is in his go mode as once he got that Quake Medallion. So we'll see, but Alex could follow him, and this could be very close if Alex gets to Eastern quickly, and he doesn't have that many other options. The lamp being on the mountain was very nice this seed for Alex. But Sanctuary, that's looking like we're going to see a Smith chain. Or there's maybe, did he not do King's Tomb the first time? No, he didn't. Yeah, this is, so he's going to sequence break the mountain here, which, so this is where the flute, the lamp being early on the mountain will be helpful, because if Alex pays attention, he'll know to immediately leave the mountain once he finds the flute up here.
Meanwhile, Kaede heads over to Misery Mire.
Yeah, and I can totally understand this play from Alex. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, you know it's a 50-50. Either this is locked by the lamp or the flute. So if it's the lamp and it's an Eastern or Smith chain and you do that and your opponent did it, you're just in such a bad situation. So you don't want to risk that. The other thing is it could be something like Smith chain and then the mirror is on the mountain, and maybe that saves some time as well. But once you find the lamp up here, you know that you're not going to find flute. So you might clear out Tower of Hera, though without the mirror, I think you do Tower of Hera over here. But otherwise, if you had the mirror, you would just skip and just do Tower of Hera with Ganon. So yeah, again, this is where, if the flute had not been on the mountain, then this would be a bit rougher, because then you would even be faced with, do I go into Turtle Rock here? But once you find that lamp, you know, okay, Turtle Rock is not going to have the flute. I just need to beat Tower of Hera. Maybe you even skip. With Silvers available, I don't think you skip anything immediately on the way. You'll still do Ether Tablet, but you might not even do Spike Cave. Oh, not Spiral Cave, I mean, sorry. Spike Cave, I think you definitely don't do.
Yeah, definitely. You're in Go mode, you're not making that time-consuming check like that.
And there's the
Godmire.
Yeah, really nice Mire here. So I guess we were wrong about the randomizer's cruelness about both having the guaranteed go and Mire here.
The only consistency is that randomizer's cruel to me.
Oh, so yeah, Alex absolutely paying attention here. So he's not even going to check those 5 in Paradox because, yeah, he sees that the lamp is here, knows that the flute cannot be up here anymore.
Yep, and the only thing Alex is missing out on is 2 bottles and red mail by extension.
So yeah, I think that Alclinace in chat is right that you should probably beat Hera here without the mirror. But I mean, that's a bit, I can definitely understand Alex not remembering and noticing that in the race here. Because like without the mirror, it's annoying to get back to Tower of Hera.
Looks like Alex is opting to take the gamble and go to Smith Chain instead of Eastern, which at that point is a 50-50, isn't it?
It's 3 versus 4 because he hasn't done hammer pegs. We know Powder's in the mountain, and so is the mushroom, so he won't be doing Powder. But then Eastern has 3 and then has Green Pendant. But this is absolutely the sort of play, like, okay, if it's an Eastern, I might be done because my opponent could have dipped it earlier. Though, I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that logic with Eastern Hells, because, like, who goes to Eastern early? That was crazy when Kaede went in there.
Yeah, favor of fortune's the bold, though.
Like, I always worry that my opponent did it early, but I don't expect them to. But I think this play, if it wasn't Green Pendant, then I feel like it's more 50-50. With Green Pendant, I think I do Eastern first. Unless I found the bow, like if for whatever reason the way I routed the seed, the bow was early available and you could have done it before Saha's Hut. But with the Moon Pearl being in Saha's Hut, you know that your opponent didn't have a bow.
Okay, and that's crystal number 5 for Kaede. And from there, you just head over to Pod, pop up the Tower of Hera, and you're on your way.
Yeah, it's not as nice. So this would be really nice to do Hera last if you have the mirror. It's still nice, but it's not as nice as it is when you can just mirror right in front of GT.
Alright, looks like Alex is probably opting to do that purple chest next.
Yeah, I think at this point, once you commit to doing Smith change, you commit to doing it. You don't waffle around, and because then you just lost the Smith time.
Yeah, definitely. Although turning that, well, I guess it's not too bad. You can just save and quit the Link's house. Or no.
Oh, were we not counting items in Thieves Town? I don't know if maybe I missed one, but I thought for sure with no big key, with no small key in the front, that there was no items in here. Oh, he seems to be pretty confident he isn't even menuing, so perhaps I just counted wrong.
And I get the play, because if you're scrambling for the flute with this, you're thinking there's no way you would have, there's not a big chance you would have your hammer come through here the first time. You take the gamble that maybe it's in the big chest, your opponent missed it as well.
Yeah, for sure, because you know that that book is in Hype Cave. So even if some runners will do front 4 of Thieves and then go down to Hype Cave and then come back to Thieves so they don't find the hammer. But if you're doing that, you're probably not going to Desert in between. Though I guess you could.
So I definitely get the thought process.
Now, I'm hoping that perhaps there is actually still an item here, because you feel really bad if it's map or compass. But he did not menu, so he seems confident.
There's a nice sword in there.
Yeah, it's a gold sword. Unfortunately, that's not even going to save that much time.
No, I mean, tempered, like, gold's nice if you find it on the way, but players at this level, like, even just a tempered sword is perfectly fine.
Now, if we end up getting the Enemizer weak, then I would retract that statement, because Enemizer, sometimes you have really annoying enemies in the climb, and it's nice to have the gold sword. If you have Hinoxes on the conveyors, it's better to just spin them with the gold sword than to try to use bombs or whatever, unless you have silvers.
Yeah, that is nice to have.
So if we don't find Mirror over here in purple chest, then Alex is going to do Eastern. It's probably too little too late at this point, but at least he'll be able to get that flute. But this is a really fast seed, so it feels weird saying it's too little too late when you're going to get your Gomod still at an hour in and only have to do 2 dungeons.
Yeah, checking Eastern in the first 10-15 minutes was the play.
Alright, no mirror, so yeah, Alex is going to know that this has to be an Eastern, and at this point you're just hoping your opponent also put it off, as long as you did.
Which is perfectly possible to think, you know. In a weird spot like that, it's pretty reasonable to think your opponent also made the same mistake.
Yeah, I could definitely see, like, I was surprised to see Kaede go in. It was kind of both ways, where I was surprised to see Kaede go in there as early as he did after getting the Moon Pearl and the flippers, and then I was just a bit surprised to see Alex do Smith Chain, but that was the sort of... It can be a trap sometimes where you're like, oh, if it's there, I already lose, because it's not always true. You just got to think through, okay, what are the scenarios where I lose? And dipping Eastern right after getting... I guess the main thing I would be concerned about is my opponent, for whatever reason, going to Eastern before Sahasrara, or doing some other thing like that. Because once you get if you drop this, like, if you do Kakariko, as long as you do Kakariko before you do Sahasrara's hut, you get Dark World Access from Sahasrara. It's not like you could have gone to Sahas before South Shore and gotten your Dark World Access down there. No, this seed, as long as you do Kak before Saha, you have Dark World Access.
Yeah, and at the same time, I also think it's... I do it pretty often. You're right, Saha is... Eastern's a fairly quick dive. You know, you might pick up something along the way.
So I personally think that with it being non-green pendant, it would be more of a toss-up for me with the Smith. With it being green pendant, I think that after doing the dungeons, and I certainly would have done the same sequence break Alex did, just for it's quick and there's a lot of checks, but then probably would go to Eastern. But we see Alex is in Eastern now, so he will get his flute. He's going to be about a Misery Mire behind Kaede. Because he'll get this flute and activate it, and then by the time it's activated, Kaede will have defeated Helmasaur.
Right, yeah, and I've seen, chats discussing it. I think it's one of those things with no right answer. Rando's gonna rando.
Yeah, it's just there's different reasons. As long as your reasoning is good, then that's what it is. Because it's like there's reasons to do Eastern, there's reasons to not do Eastern there. Because like you can either think, okay, this is my most dense area versus Smith Chain. I'll do that first. But then there's also most of the items in Eastern have literally been available since the start of the game. Maybe I don't want to do them because my opponent could have done them 10 minutes in.
Exactly, and you think you get Dark World access that early, you've got the entire Dark World available to you. Take the money and run.
And it also could be like a meta play. Maybe Alex knows that Kaede does do Eastern quickly. I didn't spend any time scouting these two players, so it could be like a meta play where you know what your opponent likes to do. And something that would have been interesting, if that Thieves Town Big Chest or Smith Chain had silvers instead of gold sword, then I think we're definitely would be in GT routing territory. But with this full, and this is a quick mire, it's not normal, it's a very nice go mode mire, so being behind just one mire it's not a huge deficit, it's just a clear deficit. And meanwhile, Kaede collected the 6th crystal, so just going to have to go up and really quickly do Tower of Hera. Got to remember to do Hera first, because sometimes when you're doing Hera last, I know I definitely have jumped into the Turtle Rock portal, and then sad, have to save and quit. Can't go into GT and go back to Hera.
That would be a nice saving grace for Alex. Alright, so Alex is going to get his big key right here on the bridge, so he's going to be able to just clean right through Misery Mire.
Yeah, always nice to just be able to very quickly get through Misery Mire. And the gold sword will be a little bit helpful against Vitreous here without the silvers. No, I guess without or I guess you could do cane dashes. It would be really nice with the cape, because then you could do some cape dashes and get some extra gold sword slashes on the eyeball. Burna dashes are quite slow. And Kaede gonna check 4 silvers here.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's right there. You burn, what, 10 seconds, 15 seconds?
Yeah, and there's still a decent enough chance that one might be a little bit far away, but it's all runner's preferences. Like if he had already cleared both of the other pendant dungeons, then I think you definitely do Ether, because there's still not as many checks. But now you've got we still have GT and Swamp and TR and even Smith Chain for him that could have it.
I almost got worried for a second. Forgetting the spin speed setup, because Kaede grabbed that Maggie Pot while still in the air, which if they were doing the bomb setup would have been bad, but.
And we're seeing, so he is aware of that, so I guess he doesn't feel confident about his spin speed setup here. So he noticed that he got that green thing, the green potion, so he can't, he has to reset. And he didn't, if you get the small key, you can reset by going into the basement. It affects the bomb jumps. And down goes Vitreous for Alex. But that is that sequence of events, checking Ether Tablet and a little bit of a longer Herapod, that gives Alex some chance to catch up if he doesn't do those things. Oh, a fall. Yeah, Moldorm showing he is still a bully even when you've got Tempered Sword. But that's because like I said earlier, Kaede's had a pretty clear lead, but it's not insurmountable. And with the extra a minute or so that he's given up here in the Tower of Hera, that gives Alex some life.
Yeah, so Alex is Hera and some change behind.
Yeah, and so I think if you're Alex, you might feel a little bit behind just because of that Smith chain. You're probably not feeling Tile Room Gamble behind, but if you know how your opponent normally routes, you may try to route in a way that is counter to the way they route versus just doing your normal route. So like if you know your opponent normally does the strategy where you mirror from Stalfos Room, maybe you go and do Rando Rush strategy, or if you know your opponent does the key, they'll look for the key in the Hope Room. Maybe you do Stalfos Room first. There's definitely there's some nice information about like depending on what you're expecting your opponent to do, like how much time you can save given certain strategies. And now also, yeah, our people are putting numbers in chat with Kaede picking up that last crystal. So you got a very brief, longer than normal Tower of Hera 7th crystal for your guess, but still pretty brief. What are you gonna guess, Lucian? I always will guess 14. How about you?
I root for Chaos, and so I vote for 22.
22 would probably be good for Kaede because that's going to save that there's no way to route in. It's harder to route in 22 quickly.
And Alex is having some trouble with the Herapod setup as well.
Yeah, he's using the bomb setup. Definitely do what you're comfortable with here on Herapod, but I guess it's second try.
Yeah, so all you 22 guessers in the chat, I see you and I respect that.
And we see Kaede is going to go Hope Room first. We'll see if there's going to be a small key show up, and there is not. So the downside of the Hope to left can get punished by doing the Stalfos Room strategy and then having it be in the Compass Room, for instance. Oh, and thanks to Tito rating with a party of 40. So welcome to this tail end of this race. Kaede Rukawa's gotten a pretty decent lead based off getting the flute from Eastern Palace a lot earlier, but he's still not out of the woods yet. If they get Alex gets a really nice GT route, he could be right back in it.
Yeah, that or some Mordor 2 shenanigans or some Ganon shenanigans.
And yeah, chat pointing out without the mirror, the Dark Magician. Perhaps Kaede normally does that strategy, but without the mirror, you do the other. All of GT routing can get quite annoying without the mirror. The mirror is so prevalent in the strategies.
Yeah, honestly feels like a pretty alien concept to me, now that I think about it.
And also, we've got 7 checks, so we're up to 8. Chat asking about the courage. What does that mean? You have 3 team members on your team. They each have pendants: courage, wisdom, or power. Courage will always do casual boots. Power will always do that random assortment of like Ambrosia, hard standard, enemizer, etc. And then wisdom will always do cross keys. So that's what it refers to.
Alright, so Alex, not that far behind. Maybe a couple minutes, depending on the route he takes. If it's on Compass side, could be good for him.
Yeah, it really depends. We see that number, I believe that's number 9 now. Or, no, yeah, number 9 was a small key.
Although it's looking like Alex is following the same route as Kaede, so it's not gonna matter a whole lot.
Yeah, with the mirror, it's just hard to. You have to either do Rando Rush or do what they did essentially, and Rando Rush can be risky depending on the number of keys.
Alright, so on the Bob's chest.
So this will be number 14. And we got another raid. Thanks to Tracefire for the 8 raiders. Welcome to the end of this tournament race. And it's not number 14 today.
Alright, so we got the possibility of a vanilla big key.
And it'd be interesting if it's in Compass Room, because then if Mirror had shown up on something along the way, then that could have been big for either of these runners if they elected to get to that Compass Room quicker. But it didn't. The Mirror might just be in Tile Room, or Turtle Rock, probably.
Alright, so we got Compass and Tile Room left.
Yep, so we'll have 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, 22 is always the bad. Unless it's me, then I don't want 22. That's the rules.
So 22 is a bit interesting because, at least the thing with 22, if you feel like you routed the seed well, I'm okay with 22, because then that means my opponent probably didn't get it before me. We probably got the big key at the same number of checks. And yeah, I think Chad is right about Tyron being a guaranteed small key, considering that Kaede is on 0 and he could waste a key on the way. Unless he has big, you could have big key and small key in this room.
No.
Okay, so we do have that. So if you find this, if he would have opened top right first, he would have known that the big key had to be here, because if there's a small key in Compass or Rando room, that means that there is a vanilla big key. I'm a bit surprised he didn't open those other two, the other two checks in there, but understandable.
This is awkward. Now that I think about it, just coming here without the mirror, because now you gotta walk back out.
Yeah, he could have taken that Wallmaster, and also, 18 is the winner. Thank you, Chad, for keeping us honest with the counting. Where is Kaede going? Because you can't afford to lose any time here. A little bit of a autopilot misstep here, because Alex could save a little bit of time if he wall masters in the that torch room, or if he just has less health and can get a death warp off.
Alright, so Kaede makes their way up the gauntlet.
And I think these runners both have red potions.
And at least one blue.
Oh.
Kaede just under the gun.
Yeah, just barely any arrows. So if silvers show up in the climb, that could be pretty devastating, because you got no arrows. Unless I've been tracking my drop packs. I don't think the guards are in the arrow pack, and most of the dudes in here are guards. All right, let's see if there is silvers over here. That would be huge for Alex, but there is not. Let's see how he elects to get back. He's going to go for oh, he only has blue mail, so it's not going to be as annoying as Kaede's was. Kaede being on red mail.
So clearing Death Mountain might have been detrimental.
Yeah, I thought that it would be for Palace of Darkness that you would regret having red mail for Death Warp, but it turns out it was GT.
The Gauntlet's not being too kind to Kaede so far.
And yeah, chat pointing out that there are guaranteed arrow pickups in the climb, and it looks like the Stalfos dudes are in the arrow pack, so perfectly fine if silvers do show up. But it's always nice to know which pots have arrows in this game.
Alex is only, what, a minute? Maybe a minute some change behind?
Yeah, he's definitely close enough where Kaede he can't make mistakes. He's gonna have to do fairly, like, he can't make big mistakes. Like a Molorm fall or Ganon death, even if it's an early Ganon death, we'll put Alex right back in it.
And that's a pretty clean land, though. And oh, Alex is taking time to go to the hospitality room.
Yeah, I don't know if he maybe already used his red potion.
I don't recall seeing him doing it, but he might have.
Is that a red potion from the Waterfall Fairy? At least one of these runners got it. Ooh, these red guys, they can, if you don't get through them on the first time, then they're just so annoying.
Now that hospitality check is going to put Alex back just a little bit.
Kaede up to the top. We'll see. I would expect to see him not check any chests after skipping the compass room chests. Very quick land molus there from Alex. Look how Gold Sword and Red Fire Rod are very nice. I guess the Fire Rod's always red, but I don't know why I said it.
Alright, on to Molorm 2. This could be make or break, depending on how it
Oh,
goes.
it gets a poke. That is annoying when you get the poke there, because now he's going to be frenzied. Oh, he is so lucky that Molorm didn't turn on him right there.
Oh,
Gets through it.
Yeah, that was risky business.
Yeah, because I think if Alex took a fall there, then it would be right in it. It would be down to because Alex has the Gold Sword, which doesn't always save time, but if you mess the double one cycle again, it does save time. So very good to not take that Molorm fall, otherwise this would be a different race. And again, it's still close, so like if Kaede has a little bit slower of an Naga fight, like 2-3 more cycles and gets 2 cycles on phase 2 against Ganon, then it's gonna be still close. But more likely it's gonna be, if Kaede just closes out cleanly, then he should be able to clean this one up.
As we got a double and a single so far. And wraps up with a triple. Ooh, and Alex almost takes a fall.
Yeah, very nice clear out there. Chat asking if Alex can hover. I don't think so, because he did not go for the Misery Mire hover. He went for the God Big Key. You have to be very confident in your hover to cover in this situation, I think, because you're probably more likely to lose time and you only save so little. All right, let's see if Alex can get a good. We're going to be looking at 2 pretty important fights. Kaede missed the cape spin, or the trident spin, so he's going to have to do 2 cycles of phase 1. Which, if you're going to 2-cycle one of the phases, you want it to be phase 1. He gets a good position here, so should get a 1-cycle phase 2. Oh no, he didn't activate the 2nd cycle, so that could be big. But also Alex is taking longer on Aga. Kaede doing a nice job here, though, with the 2nd phase down on that torch.
Yeah, very nice job.
Yeah, just a little bit off on that timing and got the 3 cycle on phase 1, but was able to clean it up nicely there and get the more difficult 1 cycle in that bottom right corner than the top left. And then Red Mail helping a bit there because he just took a Ganon hug, but luckily Red Mail greatly reduces that damage.
Swamp Palace.
Yeah, not at all surprised to see it in one of those pendants. So yeah, Mirror is probably in Turtle Rock. And Kaede gets the torch clutch, which is really important. So he's just got to not take a fall here, and he should win. So slow and steady should win the race here.
Yeah, no, don't do anything crazy.
Though he doesn't know that. That's the problem, is that you never know that you only need just to stay. You might think, oh, my opponent could be done any minute. You don't know that you're just right there.
Yeah, and you're definitely not checking your race time while you're in the middle of a Ganon fight.
No.
Unless you're gifted with some sort of ability to focus like that.
Well, for me, I just keep the chat window open and I notice when it moves. I'm not looking at it. So yeah, even though Kaede missed a few here, it's fine. So he just needs to cross the bridge here, and he will take game 1 here for the Blue Balls United. Alex making it a definitely competitive race here at the end with a pretty nice climb, but unfortunately just a little bit too little too late.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than we had thought it would be with that flute.
Yeah, after doing Smith Chain, it looked like Alex was going to lose by a fairly decent amount, but he's going to be within about a minute or so here. So I'm excited to see the rest of what these teams have to show for us in this playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't get to the playoffs for nothing. They're both two very good runners on two very good teams.
Yep, and Alex is just about done closing out this Ganon fight. Got a few more spins here on this last phase. Looks like we're going to get both these runners in for an interview once Alex is done beating Ganon. Down goes Ganon for Alex. So get your GGs in chat for Alex. Definitely put up a really good fight this race too. And we are joined by both Alex and Kaede. So good games to both of you guys.
GG.
GG's.
Hello, GG's.
So Kaede, why don't you talk about your play to dip independent Eastern that early here, the seed?
Yeah, so in this last week I have been practicing like 5 or 6 casual boot seeds, so in those 6 early Eastern was a decent play, so I decided to go and just to be sure I don't miss anything and to play safe in that situation, and that worked again. I don't know if it's because of casual boots or something, but I don't know. Just like that.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Alex, can you talk us through? We saw you get that lamp and immediately know the flute was had to be in logic somewhere else. Can you walk us through how you decided between Smith Chain and Eastern there?
I don't know if there was any good idea. I mean, I was really hoping for the green pendant at this point with the fire rod. It was in logic, right? So I was hoping it was like green pendant and you don't have your bow before like I don't know mid game. So I was really hoping so, but it was a 50-50 for me. So maybe not Thief's Town was not a good idea going back, but I mean, I was just hoping not to be in Eastern Palace, like big chest like it was, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for this. Do you guys have anything else? Those were the few things that jumped out at me in this race. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about for this seed?
Well, that was a pretty linear seed, I think, except for me for the flute. If I find flute, I mean, there was a good play for going in Eastern. I mean, this at this time because, like you said, we had the boots, so it's really easy to go through those first kind of checks. So, but yeah, that was not my idea at all. But yeah, that was a really good play from him. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it was that linear at all. I mean, if you skip Easter, it's not linear, right? You had bait in Turtle Rock, so that's it.
Well, so actually, the way that Alex routed it, Turtle Rock was always dead because it's really linear from. I can see why Alex would think it's linear because if you don't get the flute, you just clear your dungeons and then you go and you get your book from Hype Cave and you get your hammer and you're just
you're right. You're right. If you if you find a flute at the beginning of the sea like this, yeah, it's pretty much really more open than I had. Yeah, you're 100% right because Mountain was out of logic all the way for me, so I was not going there. And when I found Lamp, I was like, no, it's not there, 100% sure. So yeah.
If you're location flute in that situation, you always check everything and then go Easter after the crystal. So it was a little bit slower anyways, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so sometimes in these randomizer seeds, you make a play and you get the flute early like that, but it actually comes back to bite you depending on what the go mode is. And this was almost one of those seeds because I think the main thing was like Alex did Thieves Town Big and Smith Chain, but if he had done flute first, just the way the dungeons worked out with Pod not being a very fast go mode, getting to skip the entire mountain would just have been it would have been a really nice time save that you get just for last locating the flute.
I mean, if I have the mirror, maybe I'm going in Eastern when going to Pod, but with no mirror, I'm like, well, let's do a play and go to Mountain out of logic. And if I find Lamp, I know it's not there, but maybe with the mirror, I go to Eastern. I don't know. That's a good question, yeah.
Yeah, definitely an interesting seed with a lot of possibilities, and it's just interesting to see how it ended up playing out in actuality.
I got really upset with Smithy in this seed. And then the mistake picking up the red mail for some reason.
Yeah, that red mail made that death warp really
Didn't help
rough.
at all. And yeah, I was afraid also when I rushed left side GT. I was like, okay, I may lose this game.
I thought the
I
same.
usually do. How is it said? I don't remember the name. I do
Dark
left side.
Magician is what
Yeah,
people
right.
traditionally
Dark
call
Magician.
it.
Sorry.
I was gonna do that too, but with no mirror, it's really bad
Yes,
to do this. Yeah, I agree.
it's easier to route GT without the mirror going left side, I think. But whatever, it's random.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing it in action, I just got reminded of how alien a concept GT with no mirror actually is. So I don't think I've ever had a GT where I've had to like walk back out from the compass room.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I just remember it was possible, but you never do it, right?
Yeah, I think so Kaede had the red mail, so the death warp was so bad. Maybe you could take the Wallmaster out from the room with the torches.
Yes, for sure.
All right,
Yeah, I
so you
don't
guys
know.
have already got match 2 scheduled for this series. So let's see when that one. You guys have got that tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, it's for our partner. I didn't even know it was at that time, so it's good to know. I'll take a look at it for sure.
Yeah, so that will be Alkaline Ace versus Red Kitsune in Cross Keys. So definitely be exciting to see that match occur as well. How does it feel playing? You guys got paired up against your division opponent in round 1. How do you guys feel about that?
Oh, that was pretty nice. I mean, we already had a 1-1 two games, so it was great. We knew it will be gonna be tight. So always fun to play against them. They're a really good team, so we know it's tough. It's always a tough matchup when you arrive in playoff. Any kind of player you take, you know they're good, so it's already tough.
I wanted revenge, so I'm pretty happy for now. Let's see how it goes tomorrow on game 3. Let's see.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for putting on the race today. So everyone, if you want to catch more league action, definitely follow the ALTTPR league here. And that would also, we have ALTTPR League 2 and some speed gaming family of channels if you want to catch more of these. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the open playoffs. They started this week. The Invitational will start next week. So there should be a pretty dense slate of games for this first round between the two leagues. So definitely excited to see more. Definitely give these runners a follow if you haven't already. They put on a great show today, and you'll get to see even more of them on their personal time if you do that. Shout outs to our tracker, Made Walk Herd, did a great job today pressing the buttons for us. And also shout outs to my code comment, Lucian Grief.
Yep, and shout out to you. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say thank you guys for your time.
Oh, thank you for putting on a good show for us.
Yeah, thanks for the restream, by the way, and the tracking. Really. It's always good to have restreams and play in front of people, so yeah, that's it. See you tomorrow, I guess. And thanks again.
Yep. Have a good night, everyone.